Radical, a word that can spark fear, inspire change, or simply mean something totally awesome, but what does it really mean? Is it a force for good, driving progress and innovation? Or is it a word that signals danger, extremism, and chaos? Today, we're diving into the word radical to uncover its true meaning. Is it the key to revolution and transformation, or is it a warning sign of things going too far? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know whether being radical is something to celebrate or something to fear. Ready to challenge your perception of what it means to be radical? Let's get into it. Today, we're exploring a word that's been a symbol of change, rebellion, and innovation for centuries. That's right, we're talking about radical. Now, when you hear the word radical, what comes to mind? Maybe it's political movements, social change, or even something as simple as a new idea that challenges the status quo. But have you ever wondered where this word actually comes from? Now let's start at the beginning. The word radical has its roots in the Latin word radix, which means root. It first entered the English language in the late 14th century, primarily as a term in botany. It was used to describe something fundamental, something at the very core, literally the root of a plant. So back then, calling something radical meant getting to the root of things, the very essence. But how did we get from talking about plant roots to revolutionary ideas? Fast forward to the 18th century, during the Age of Enlightenment and the birth of modern political thought. The word radical started to take on a new meaning. It was used to describe people who sought fundamental, often revolutionary changes in society. Think of figures like Thomas Paine, who called for a radical shift in government, or Robespierre during the French Revolution, who pushed for radical changes in French society. Here, radical began to mean someone who advocated for deep, systemic change, tearing things up by the roots and starting anew. So, the word radical evolved from describing the roots of a plant to describing the roots of ideas. Radicalism wasn't just about small tweaks. It was about digging deep to make real transformative change. Moving into the 20th century, radical continued to evolve. It became a label often associated with social movements that sought to challenge the status quo: civil rights, feminism, anti-war protests, environmentalism, you name it. In the 1960s, being called a radical could mean you were part of the counterculture. In politics, it often had a negative connotation, used to describe someone who was seen as extreme or dangerous. But it was also a badge of honor for those who saw themselves as fighting for justice and equality. And then there's the fun side of radical. In the 1980s, radical became a popular slang term, especially in surf and skate culture. It was a way to describe something that was awesome, cool, or out of the ordinary. Totally radical, dude. It's amazing to see how a word can travel through time, shifting its meaning and picking up new connotations along the way. From the roots of a plant to the roots of change, and even to the roots of a killer wave. Radical has seen it all. So next time you hear or use the word radical, you'll know there's a rich history behind it, one that spans centuries of human thought and action. Whether you're talking about a groundbreaking idea or just something that's totally cool, you're tapping into a word that's all about going to the root of things. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the history of radical. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And hey, drop a comment below. What's the most radical thing you've done recently? Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the power of words.